Oh, hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today, guys, we are going to hit you with a character review. It's been a long time, guys, since we did a proper character review, but I thought this is as good a time as any. Netflix show, Iron Fist, it's getting shitty reviews. People are mad about whitewashing, so why not make a clickbait video about the Iron Fist? So here we go with the Iron Fist review, guys. Iron Fist recently got a new uniform to coincide with his Netflix show, and the character has taken kind of a huge step forward. He's kind of metamorphosized and prophesized and terrorized into this beast that we see now, missing an article of clothing. At least one, actually two, if I can be more precise. But I thought it would be really important to do a character review on Iron Fist because I know a lot of new players or returning players coming into the game are going to see his name brought up a lot in chatter, whether it's on, you know, Reddit, Discord, it's on game FAQs, it's on the 4chan B for this game, and they're going to wonder, well, what's the big deal about Iron Fist? So here we go, guys, let's find out. So Iron Fist is a curious character in that he's one of the only reliable energy damage dealing combat characters. The combat class is most often filled with characters who deal physical damage, and that's kind of their forte. But here is Iron Fist, who deals exclusively in energy damage minus Chi of the Flying Crane. So very important to note that. Very also important to note that Iron Fist has huge burst damage potential. Especially in his Iron Fist 4th skill, it deals tons of damage. It got reworked a long time ago, and it's 4 or 5 hits, and it deals insane damage, but it has to be up close. So for a long time, Iron Fist was kind of regarded as a high risk, high reward kind of character. He could deal lots of damage potentially, but you had to play him absolutely expertly. In the hands of an average player, or in the hands of a sub-average player on my part, Iron Fist would struggle to do well and would only shine in very specific circumstances, with certain buffs, with certain leaderships, against certain world bosses. But all that has changed, guys. I'm going to be taking the perspective for the rest of the character review, assuming that you have this uniform for Iron Fist, the Jufro Iron Fist tattoo, but not really a tattoo, Colleen Wing, call me please, we're supposed to be together uniform. So if you don't have this uniform already and you are interested in investing in Iron Fist, whether it's to get him to tier 1, 6 stars, level 60, or tier 2, you absolutely must buy this uniform. This is a must buy. Sell low, buy high, buy low, sell high, whatever you have to do, get this uniform. So let's check out the uniform and let's check out what we need to do to make our Iron Fist really amazing. So his first stats are energy attack and crit rate. You want to roll all attack or energy attack for the rest of the slots, and then you want to equip his Urus to both boost his energy attack. So as you can see there, I already have 2 5-star energy attack Urus, and then the last 3 slots you want to put in with things that you're missing from his other stats. So you want to get maybe skill cooldown, because one thing that Iron Fist does need a lot of is skill cooldown. Maybe ignore defense, maybe crit damage, maybe crit rate, things like that. His second gear, energy defense and HP, is pretty good. He does have HP as a second stat. You want to roll all defense, but I probably want to change this first one to energy defense by level. And then again, you want to roll Urus the same way that you did for the first gear. It should be all the same, more or less. The third gear is missing HP, but it does give him crit damage and attack speed. And then his fourth gear gives him ignore defense, which is great, and dodge. As you can see, guys, from the orange stats, we are missing skill cooldown. It is nowhere to be found on his gear, so that is one area that Iron Fist will struggle in. So you do need to make sure that you roll the character properly so that you're not low on skill cooldown for your final build. In my case, I have a lot of skill cooldown from cards. I have a top level alliance, and I do have a ISO 8 set with skill cooldown, so I rolled for crit rate. If you need ignore defense, if you need skill cooldown, roll them here. Probably best to stay away from attack speed because you will be able to get that from other areas. Also keep in note, guys, and keep in mind that you don't need to get maximum defense penetration or ignore defense for Iron Fist. So as we can see here, I'm only at about 44.5%, and that's okay. I can actually be a little bit lower than that, and why that is because his third skill, Kunlun Focus, gives him ignore defense. So as you can see here, 15% for 20 seconds. It does have a cooldown time of 30 seconds. Thank you for the Dimension Rift, oh fearless leader. But when you get to max skill cooldown, that's on a 15-second timer, so you can have that 15% up all the time. So technically you only need up to 35% ignore defense, which is really important because it's going to help newer players hit that cap and start to see those awesome returns on that increased defense penetration for Iron Fist. So that's very, very good. But we did talk about, and we do need to address the fact that he has very low skill cooldown. So as we can see here, my skill cooldown right now is 48%, and that's in part due to my team up bonuses with with Daredevil and Luke Cage. But natively speaking, he does lack skill cooldown. So if we switch the team and we go over here and we go back, he's down to 39%. Now again, I still have very good equipment for him, but if you rolled Power of Angry Hulk or Overdrive for his ISO 8 set, then you will be missing. Like without that 7% skill cooldown, I am well below the cap of 36%. I can start to see some issues with my skill rotation. So that's why you absolutely do need to roll for a Hawk's Eye unless you have, you know, above average skill cooldown on your cards. You're probably going to need north of 30% on your cards. You don't want to get skill cooldown if you can avoid it on your Uru, because you can equip him with other stats in that area. So try to go for Hawk's Eye if you can, but if not, settle for another attacking set. He does not need any more health. He still has the uniform bonus, which gives him the heal and the invincibility, and that's really all he needs, at least for all of the PvE stuff we're going to talk about. As far as an obelisk goes for Iron Fist, this one is pretty bad. I have recovery rate, which is useless. Basically, I have crit damage, which is pretty good, and then the freeze is garbage. So this I definitely need to work on. A much better obelisk for him would be something like the one I have, except for the ignore defense. As we talked about, he does not need ignore defense, but the snare is really important for Extreme Alliance Battle Combat Superhero Day, and then the damage proc is fantastic. So you definitely want to roll a damage proc for Iron Fist. You definitely want to try and roll for snare resist if you can, and then, you know, it is really good as well to get immune to guard break, which is that orange stat over there, because he does have some long animations which can be interrupted and leave him vulnerable. Another awesome stat would be either crit rate or crit damage, whichever one you need to complement him. Keep in mind that at tier 2, Iron Fist does get a whopping 35% crit rate. However, it does not show up in the details page. So as you can see here, my crit rate is a lot lower than 35%, but that 27 will be augmented up flat by a 35% chunk. So this will jump to over 60 when I zone into the game mode that I'm playing in, but you won't be able to see it on the details page. But those are the obelisks, ISO 8s, and gear ups you want to set him up for. Of course, you absolutely want to get the uniform. The optional uniforms that you can get for Iron Fist are the Luke Cage from Netflix uniform, the Winter Soldier Captain America uniform, the Karachi Kamala Khan costume, the Secret Wars 2099 Black Widow, and then the Iron Patriot War Machine uniform. I would say that you can probably skip the first one if you don't need skill cooldown, but I love Carl Lucas. This one is very important. This one is not so important, so you probably don't need to get that one. And then the third and fifth one are important as well. You do want to get those. The HP helps just to give him a little bit more survivability. He will heal for a little bit more because it's 10% of his max, but you don't need to prioritize HP for him. So technically you only need the Captain America Winter Soldier, which you should have for Doctor Strange already, and then the last one, which is the Iron Patriot uniform, which kind of stings to buy, but what can you do? Now let's jump into some gameplay action, guys. I want to show you just how powerful Iron Fist is. I want to give you guys a skill rotation. Again, we are going under the pretense that you do have this uniform. If you don't have this uniform, Iron Fist is quite a bit harder to play. He has quite a lot less survivability, so his ability to solo game modes is actually much reduced. He is much less of a potent threat in things like Shadowland, and he doesn't do as well to one-shot the world bosses. Thank you for the inventory space decrease, Netmarble. Please give us more materials to farm for. The big reason why you want the Iron Fist uniform will be on full display in this mission. So you want to start off with the immunity, you want to build into his ignore defense, and then you want to rotate through his skills as such. Ideally, you want the damage proc that you have to trigger on his fourth skill. However, I don't have a damage proc at all, so I'm just going with my 2-4-5 rotation. As you can see, the damage is fantastic. We're less than 20 seconds into this fight, and we're already in the second phase. The only skill that I'm really prioritizing to cast whenever it comes off cooldown on top of his regular DPS skills is that third skill, so you do need to keep an eye on it so that you do not end up, you know, spending a long time playing without it. But as you can see here, when you crit, you deal well over 100,000 damage with that fourth skill. It's fantastic, guys. But you do want to open with the second skill to ensure the immunity. You can interrupt the skill, so just like that, I've interrupted it so I don't have to watch that entire animation. And then you want to use the fourth skill first because it has the most damage, and then work in the fifth skill right afterwards. The fifth skill won't do as much damage, but it will protect Danny Rand from damage if you're off your cooldown for the 3 seconds of immunity that you get from the pressure point jab. So as you can see here, it gave me 3 seconds over there. But when it runs out, I do want to use that fifth skill semi-defensively. It still does damage. It still works as a crowd clearer as well. And then go back to your 2-4-5 rotation. You just want to prioritize the fourth skill after the second skill to take advantage of that buff. So we dicked around, guys. We were dodging and we were showing off skill rotations, and that was an easy 1 minute and 19-second clear. That's with no leadership for DPS. That's with no strikers. Yes, we do have team up bonuses, but there's not a lot of attack on those team up bonuses. So we can see from that example that Iron Fist is an absolute monster on his own to deal damage, even more so with the new uniform. To get a little bit more technical about why the new uniform is so potent, guys, we do need to look at the improved pressure point jab. So if we go and check out any of his other uniforms, unfortunately, Danny Rand does not have a very impressive pressure point jab. It just collects 25% max HP as damage. Whoop-de-doo. It really doesn't do that much damage. It's got a slow animation. It's just a bad skill. You don't want to cast this one. Really, with these other uniforms, you're just casting the Iron Fist. That's literally all. You can cast the Kunlun Focus, but as you can see, it only gives you dodge. It doesn't give you ignore defense. So it's really just the Iron Fist. Even the Chi Strike skill, despite having a 3-second stun, is only useful in Shadowlands. It's just a bunch of punches. But when he gets this new uniform, it is like night and day, guys. This is September 21st. The reason for that is the pressure point jab. As you can see here, he becomes immune for 3 seconds, and then he accumulates the true damage regardless of defense and dodge, the damage that he accumulates from being hit, and then he gets a buff of attack for each 1% damage taken, which is fantastic. So this is basically a survivability and huge damage boost rolled into one, but you do want to ideally cancel out this skill right after the immunity triggers and go right into the fourth skill. There is some temptation to let this skill, you know, transpire so you can absorb more damage, but honestly, if you rotate through Danny's skills fast enough, he has good skill cooldown provided you're at the cap. He has short timers on his skills, and you'll get more DPS out of him if you cancel out of the pressure point jab before the 3 seconds are up, because the absorbed damage does not outweigh the damage that you'll get from casting the Iron Fist and the Immortal Iron Fist more frequently. As you can see here, 8 seconds is very short, 12 seconds is very short. You can have these on 4 and 6 second timers. It goes by very fast. This one's on 7 seconds. So it's very important to have his skill cooldown capped and to obviously have this uniform. As for where you can farm for Iron Fist's bios, you can get 20 per day from story missions. Very easy to get them. You can clear ticket or run the missions. They're very basic, as you can see, low power level missions. Any level 66-star character can run through those. And you can also get him from Shadowland selectors and other things like that. He does benefit greatly from his tier 2 because of the massive survivability and damage increase, so I do recommend that you tier 2 him if you are looking for a very powerful combat hero. There are arguments and there are those that say that this is the new top dog in the game for combat heroes. I'm still personally invested and emotionally tied to Moon Knight, but if you have a character that has suddenly become, you know, into the conversation with Moon Knight, who was unequivocally the best combat hero in the game, bar none, you have yourselves a winner, guys. This is the real deal, the real McCoy, as they say. As far as overall game mode rankings, guys, I did cover this in the best combat tier 2 character list, but I will talk about it one more time. I think that Danny Rand with this uniform is just fantastic. He's a 5 out of 5 basically throughout. The only place where he will struggle with is random PvP, where you're not controlling him, because he can't prioritize the Kunlun focus, and then he will be vulnerable. But basically any game mode where you can manually control him, he will be a monster and a headache to deal with. You can solo with the type disadvantage in timeline a whole team. You can kill Dormammu twice. You can do pretty much anything with, you know, the immortal Iron Fist, guys. So I strongly recommend you get this uniform if you have any intention of getting this character. And if you want a badass energy dealing combat character who is the immortal Iron Fist, guys, I'm pretty hooked on the Netflix series right now if you can't tell. Get Iron Fist today, guys. This has been the review. Let me know what you think, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are of the new Iron Fist. I have given this character a lot of flack in the past, so I wanted to make amends and really highlight what's good about the character now and what isn't so good if you don't have this uniform. And of course, guys, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.